From the outside, marriage in first world countries like the United States, Canada, Australia, and those across Europe can appear remarkably uniform. We see images of white dresses, celebratory gatherings, and legal documents that bind two people together. This picture suggests a shared modern understanding of what it means to be married. However, this surface-level similarity masks a deep and fascinating diversity of practices, expectations, and challenges. The idea that marriage is a simple, universal institution even within these economically developed nations is a significant misconception. Each country, and even regions within them, carries its own unique cultural baggage and historical trajectory that shapes how individuals approach this profound life decision. One of the most persistent myths is that marriage in the West is an easy, straightforward affair, unburdened by the complex family negotiations seen elsewhere. People often assume that because these societies prioritize individualism, the choice to marry is purely a matter of personal love, free from external pressures. While individual choice is certainly a central value, it operates within a complex web of social expectations, economic considerations, and familial hopes. The journey to the altar is rarely as simple as a romantic movie montage suggests. It involves navigating differing views on commitment, financial planning, and the integration of two separate lives, all of which are influenced by the specific cultural context in which the couple lives. Another common misconception is that the fundamental meaning of marriage is identical across these nations. While love is often cited as the primary reason to marry, what that love is expected to accomplish varies. In some cultures, it is about creating a nuclear family unit as quickly as possible. In others, it is more about a long-term companionship between two equals, with children being an optional component. The very definition of family is also in flux. The traditional model of a husband, wife, and children is now just one of many accepted forms. Blended families, child-free couples, and same-sex marriages are increasingly common, challenging older, more rigid definitions of what constitutes a legitimate marital union. Furthermore, the idea that marriage is a purely private contract between two individuals ignores its public and legal dimensions. Marriage is, and always has been, a social institution that confers a specific set of rights, responsibilities, and social statuses. These legal frameworks are not the same everywhere. The process of getting married, the rights granted to spouses during the marriage, and the procedures for dissolving it can differ dramatically from one country to another. This legal scaffolding has a powerful, though often invisible, influence on how people experience their marital relationships. Understanding these differences is key to appreciating the true diversity of marriage in the modern developed world. The legal landscape of marriage across first world nations is far from uniform. For instance, the requirements for getting married can vary significantly. Some countries may have residency requirements or demand more extensive documentation than others. The concept of prenuptial agreements also holds different weight. In the United States, they are relatively common and legally enforceable, while in some European countries, they are viewed with more skepticism or are subject to stricter judicial review. These legal details are not just bureaucratic hurdles. They reflect deeper cultural attitudes about property, autonomy, and the role of the state in personal relationships. They shape the very foundation upon which a marriage is built. Divorce laws present an even starker example of these differences. In some places, a no-fault divorce, where neither party has to prove wrongdoing, is the standard. This makes the process of separation legally simpler, reflecting a view of marriage as a contract that can be dissolved by mutual consent. In other jurisdictions, however, the process can be more complicated and adversarial, requiring proof of adultery, abandonment, or cruelty. The division of assets and arrangements for child custody also follow different legal principles, influenced by long-standing traditions and evolving ideas about fairness and parental responsibility. These legal frameworks have a profound impact on the power dynamics within a marriage and the perceived risks of ending it. Social expectations surrounding marriage also diverge in important ways. In some parts of Europe, for example, long-term cohabitation without marriage is widely accepted and socially normalized, even for couples with children. These partnerships, sometimes called de facto relationships, may even be granted legal recognition similar to marriage. In contrast, in other countries like the United States, While cohabitation is common, there often remains a stronger social pressure to formalize a long-term relationship through legal marriage. These differing social norms influence the timeline of relationships and the meaning that individuals attach to different stages of commitment. Moreover, the public celebration of marriage itself reflects these varied norms. The scale and expense of a wedding ceremony can differ enormously. In some cultures, a lavish, large-scale event is the expected norm, serving as a public statement of status and family unity. In others, a more understated, intimate ceremony at a civil registry office is just as common and socially acceptable. These choices are not merely about personal taste, they are shaped by cultural traditions, social class, and the perceived importance of marriage as a public versus private event. The wedding is a performance, and what it is meant to signify varies from one society to the next. The rise of dating apps and online platforms has fundamentally reshaped the path to partnership in nearly every first world country. This digital revolution has expanded the pool of potential partners far beyond traditional social circles of friends, family, and colleagues. Apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge have created a new marketplace for relationships, where individuals can connect based on shared interests, values, and attraction. This has democratized dating to some extent, offering opportunities to people who might have been isolated by geography or social circumstance. The process of finding a spouse is no longer confined to the physical world. It now happens through swipes, messages, and carefully curated digital profiles. However, this technological shift is not without its complexities. While dating apps offer immense choice, they can also foster a culture of disposability and superficial judgment. The sheer volume of options can lead to choice paralysis, where individuals struggle to commit to one person for fear that someone better might be just a swipe away. This can delay marriage or lead to a series of short-term relationships rather than long-term commitments. Online interactions also introduce new challenges, such as navigating the transition from a digital connection to an in-person relationship, and dealing with the curated, often idealized personas that people present online. The digital age has made meeting people easier, but building a lasting marriage may have become more complex. Economic factors also play a powerful role in shaping marriage decisions. In many high-cost-of-living areas across North America, Europe, and Australia, financial stability has become a prerequisite for marriage. Young people often feel they must achieve certain career milestones, pay off student debt, and secure stable housing before they can even consider getting married. This economic pressure can delay marriage significantly, pushing the average age of first marriage higher and higher. The decision to marry is no longer just a romantic one. It is a major financial decision that requires careful planning and resources, a far cry from the marriages of previous generations. Furthermore, the economic relationship between spouses has been transformed by rising gender equality. In the past, marriage was often an economic exchange where a male breadwinner supported a female homemaker. Today, dual-income households are the norm in most first-world countries. This shift has changed the power dynamics within marriage, leading to more egalitarian partnerships where both spouses contribute financially and share domestic responsibilities. However, this transition is not always smooth. Couples must negotiate who does what, both at work and at home, and these negotiations are influenced by lingering cultural expectations about gender roles, creating new potential sources of conflict and collaboration within the modern marriage. The very purpose of marriage is undergoing a profound transformation in the developed world. Historically, marriage was primarily an institution for procreation, property transfer, and forming alliances between families. Love was a desirable bonus, but rarely the main reason for the union. Today, that script has been completely flipped. The modern marriage is overwhelmingly defined by its capacity to provide individual fulfillment, emotional support, and deep personal companionship. It is seen as a partnership of equals, designed to help both individuals become the best versions of themselves. This shift places an immense emotional weight on the marital relationship to be a source of happiness and self-actualization. This focus on individual fulfillment has also led to a diversification of family structures. The nuclear family, once held up as the gold standard, is now recognized as just one of many valid forms. Same-sex marriage is legally recognized in a growing number of first-world countries, representing a monumental shift in the definition of marriage away from its procreative function toward one based on love and commitment, regardless of gender. Blended families resulting from divorce and remarriage are commonplace, and an increasing number of couples are choosing to remain child-free, focusing instead on the partnership itself. These changes reflect a broader cultural move toward inclusivity and a more flexible understanding of what constitutes a family. This evolution is also reflected in the changing views on marriage's permanence. While commitment remains a core ideal, the idea that marriage must last a lifetime, even at the cost of personal happiness, has faded. Divorce, though often difficult, is now widely accepted as a legitimate solution to an unfulfilling or harmful marriage. This does not mean that people enter into marriage lightly. On the contrary, because the expectations for emotional intimacy and personal growth are so high, individuals are less willing to remain in unions that fail to meet these needs. The modern marriage is a high-stakes endeavor, expected to deliver more than ever before. Despite all these differences in law, culture, and personal expectations, a powerful common thread unites the experience of marriage across all these countries. At its core, the contemporary Western marriage is a quest for love, companionship, and a sense of belonging. It is about finding a trusted partner with whom to share life's joys and navigate its challenges. Whether in Sydney, Toronto, Paris, or Los Angeles, individuals seek a relationship that offers security, intimacy, and a shared future. In a world that can often feel fragmented and uncertain, the desire to build a meaningful life with another person remains a deeply human and universal aspiration.